So now I'm getting to my planning pages. It's the very beginning of Ramadan. I have a weekly goal here. This is the second page actually. And then you break that down into like a daily goal. So this page I'm going to have to print out 4 times, of course. And then we have the main goal, and that is 3 goals per aspect. And you can do 1 or 2 goals. I just left space for that. And we want to use a pencil, right? This is the main thing I was saying in my halakha. So for the fasting section, I was just going to put some tips there for myself to remind myself of healthy things to eat. Some things that will make fasting easier. This is not a meal planning chart. Now for my Quran, I actually already planned this out earlier, sometime last week, and I have a very specific goal to complete the surah that I'm studying, Surah Al-Fatih, because I've been dragging on this surah for a while, and I really only have one long ayah finished, so I have to go back over it, I have to review it, I have to perfect the recitation and the memorization before I really continue starting new ayah. So for the first week, I'm just going to be focusing on perfecting that. But I do want to complete the surah, and I want to read it for my teacher after Eid, inshallah. This is my personal goal with my Quran. As for my salah, my goals have to do with making more tahajjud. Like I told you guys, I don't usually go to the masjid. I find it distracting, and I like to make my own du'as. I have a lot of personal du'as that I like to make in my tahajjud. So the night prayer, I like to pray that by myself. So I don't really have to remind myself to read it, but I want to add on to more rak'ah during Ramadan, obviously. The other aspect of my salah is that our salah can get a little stale, so I want to add a new du'a. I'm just going to focus on one, a new du'a at some point in the salah. I don't know all the du'as of the salah. I know how to pray, and I know some variations of different du'as, but I want to add some because I know that I don't know all of them. So, and then of course, aside from that, a du'a. There are several different beautiful du'as that I want to learn, and when I was looking at the ones I wanted to study, I discovered that they're quite long. So even though I've written 4 here, I'm changing that to a 2 because they are 2 very long du'as, and I'm going to make sure that I can get them both in, inshallah. Something else I wanted to do is review the Hisn al-Muslim, the book that has the everyday du'as, because there are some that I know, but I just don't read them when I'm supposed to. So I'm going to review that, inshallah. As to charitable acts, these things don't really have anything to do with giving money. It has to do with me continuing what I usually do during Ramadan with my Ramadan Ready website, and also enhancing the Converts for Unity website, which is a very small website from a small group that I have in my city, myself and some convert friends. The website is pretty much what's left of what we've already been doing, but I have Quran pages and Quran help things on that website, and I want to add to those. So that's part of what I'm going to do for my charitable work in Ramadan. This is important. This is why I say to write it in pencil, because you want to adjust this plan, right? You might overwhelm yourself. So now you take that bigger plan and you break it down into smaller plans per week. So each of the goals that I did have for the different things, I'm going to write them in here for fasting, Quran, Salah, Dua, and charity. Now, I mentioned before, I did already make a kind of a plan. I started off my own plan before I made this one, and I decided that I was going to break up the Quran and note that I wanted to read from the English a juz every day, because I wanted to get back through. I know I'm recording the juz. I've already recorded several juz, but I'm going to go back through and just read and reflect. And I want to note down my favorite ayahs, my favorite stories in the Quran, so I can share those, inshallah, with others. So when it comes down to breaking up what I want to do for my salah, I want to get back into making my nafila salah. So I'm going to continue to read my tahajjud every night, obviously. And this week, I'm just going to focus on the duha prayer. So for this week, I'm just going to begin studying the dua. I'm going to take a look at it, inshallah. Probably going to write it out and look up the vocabulary and this kind of stuff. So these things, inshallah, this should be simple enough for me to find time to do. With these files for the Ramadan Ready, there is a very specific goal here because I want to make sure that all of the files are ready for you when you go on the site. So right now I have the whole first week done, but because it is the first week of Ramadan right now, I really have to catch up. So that is very specific. For the Converts for Unity website, this is less specific because it is extremely time consuming. The Quran pages that I'm preparing, where I edit the Quran pages on my computer, and I put I make like writing pages. So there are some that have the Quran entirely erased, so you can write it in yourself, and there are pages where you can trace. And I make 2 copies of each. That's very time consuming. So it's basically however much I'm able to do. That one is not specific; it's open ended, and we'll see where that ends up at the end of Ramadan. So now I get to the very specific plan about what I'm going to be doing this week. And this puts me in a frame of mind where I have to plan like today, right, of what I'm going to be doing today, what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the week. And I didn't bore you with my my chia seeds and my vitamins in the first week there. Just these things, just to put a reminder. And I know some of these things can be very repetitive because you may be doing the same thing every day, but it's important to write it down, I think, as a mental process. Okay, so this is what my plan looks like. I told you I was going to show it to you. That's the whole month. Now we're working into weeks, very specific breakdown. And then for each week. So this page you're going to need to print 4 times because you have to have each one. But hopefully you can do it too.